This is my review for the Lego Marvel logo set, one that released in January of 2025 for the Infinity Saga line of Marvel sets. Something they've been continuing, which I'm glad to see that they're still doing since 2021. It's got 931 pieces and 5 minifigures, which are 5 out of the 6 Avengers, which Hawkeye is seemingly missing from this set, which I will get to. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with those figures, and then yeah, we'll move on to the build. So here is the new Captain America. This is his outfit from the first Avenger, which we've never gotten before, and I think it's a near perfect design. I think the torso print is actually pretty much perfect. Like, I got no problems with it whatsoever. I like the way they create the little soldier-esque design that he had since, you know, he fought in World War II. So yeah, this is a pretty cool figure in my opinion. I think my only real problem here is that, you know, the arms, which look fine with like the solid gray there, but I think I would have preferred if it was dual molded arms. But knowing Lego and knowing, you know, how they treat their figures sometimes, and especially with Marvel and like Star Wars, they probably won't do that. It's not like Lego Harry Potter, which they will like really just make a new piece, a new print for like whenever they have to. And yeah, the head and the helmet is pretty much the exact same, but for some reason on my copy it looks a bit like faded out and like a little bit misprinted. Like, it seems a bit lower on the helmet than it usually is supposed to be. And another weird thing is they just don't include a hairpiece for him, which I guess it doesn't really need to, and we've gotten it quite a while, but you know, it's just something weird that they didn't do this time. This is the Iron Man Mark 6 design, a figure that we saw a version of, I think, in the Avengers Tower that had like damaged marks on it. So this was previously exclusive, and then they released it in the new Hall of Armor, which also came out, I think, last month. Still a great looking figure in my opinion. I've gotten used to the newer helmet design, which I honestly don't really mind the look of now. And I think the minifigure is just printed really well. The face print underneath, however, is the exact same one they've been using for the past like 6-7 years, which I think they need to make a new face print for. But yeah, also notably, this is also missing a face print, or a hairpiece rather, for Tony Stark, which is also weird. And here's Thor. I'm not quite sure which figure this is based off of. I don't know if this is like the one that he wore in the first Thor movie, but it doesn't really look like that either, so I'm not sure what this is based off of. I don't think it's from the first Avengers too, because it doesn't look like the costume he had there. But it's still a great design. He's got his hammer, which they've been using forever. He's got the cool cape here, and you can see the printing on the back there. His face print, which has also been the same for like the past I think since 2021, but the hairpiece is one that's a bit different. It's no longer that lighter blonde one. It's a bit of a darker one that matches his beard, which I guess looks kind of better. I don't really mind either color, but you know, it's just something cool to point out. And here's Hulk, but as a minifigure. Pretty cool design, also exclusive to the set. He's got plain gray pants. Would have been cooler if it was dual molded, but then again, it's Lego and Lego Marvel, they wouldn't do that. But yeah, cool torso print there. You can kind of see how it looks on the back. New face print also, which I think this is specifically, I don't know if this is Edward Norton's Hulk or Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, but still, cool design. You can see how his head looks on the back. So lastly, here we have Black Widow, which I don't know if this is exclusive to the set. I think this definitely came in Avengers Tower, because it has the same torso and the legs, but it doesn't have side arm printing, which I think it had in the Avengers Tower. And then the hairpiece is also different. They gave her the longer design here, but this is the one that I have in the Quinjet, which doesn't have the leg printing but has the side arm printing, which, yeah, it sucks that they just removed that. I think that's pretty bad in my opinion, but at least it came with leg printing, but you know, cut corners. So here it is, the Marvel logo, which is pretty much the logo. It's like, it looks exactly how it looks on the box and how it looks like in the movies, and I think it's honestly a near perfect build in my opinion. And yeah, from like when you look at it, it may like just seem like, oh, it's just like a box of like red stuff, but no, they actually like have quite a bit of detail in how they put together the pieces and even the way they build the letters on the logo. So the way they do it is, the wall here, like the red wall, is just like a bunch of small tiles connected together, but then they leave these little spaces where you can just essentially connect the letters to the side of the wall there. Like with the letter E, I believe this is like a clip attached to it. I don't think I can remove it. Oh, there you go. It's just a clip here, just on those two pieces, and then everything else is kind of built sidewards, and then it just connects like that, which looks pretty great and just kind of goes together honestly perfect. And then the way each letter is shaped honestly works brilliantly in my opinion. I love the way like the E is very smoothed out, I kind of wish they did the same for the M and the L, because there's these studs that are just kind of on the side, which I kind of wish were just smoothed out with tiles. For the letter A and the R, I could have done without some of these studs, but like, you know, it would have been cooler if it was just kind of smoothed out. I don't mind like a little bit of studs showing, but I feel like for some letters like here and then a little bit here on the A too, I could have done without some of these parts there. But yeah, overall still looks really great and just fun. This is how the set looks on the back, which doesn't really have anything but this little part here, which plays into a feature that I will show right now. On the top of the build and on each side also is actually panels that contain the characters in the set, so they are quite literally inside of this Marvel logo, and then they're gonna be able to pop out, sort of like popping out of like the comic pages or whatever. And yeah, how this works is that these little panels here, so you bring up the first one and that will reveal. You just push him up here and then there you go, he's kind of sitting on his own little part there. And then these two panels are supposed to pop out by pressing these two actuators here on the side, which are kind of tough to do. Like, you can kind of get like the captain, like you could sort of see Captain America sticking out there, and then these panels are supposed to come off, and essentially the minifigure is supposed to press on it and just push it out. So maybe you just have to like put a bit more force into it, but you essentially push those panels out and the minifigures will come out. That is how the Marvel logo looks with 5 out of the 6 Avengers on it. So you kind of just have to put a little bit of force into pushing out these little panels here, which are really just very basic builds. It's nothing too complicated. And these are the little top tiles there, so it's not much. So how this works is there's a whole like function, a whole technic design there that you can sort of see here, but like it connects the two little arms here on the right, or on the left side rather, that pushes out your first 2 characters, and then there's Iron Man in the middle, and then another pair of like Technic pieces where you push out and then it brings out the other 2. And you can see this is where those little panels were attached to earlier, just with this little piece there, and then your minifigure basically just pushes it out with its head. So that's kind of how it works. So you're probably thinking it's gonna take a lot of force, or not too much force, but you know, it's gonna take a certain amount to be able to push these panels out, since they're kind of on a connection of its own. And since they're just minifigures standing on a plate, it's gonna be a bit, I guess, harder to stabilize. So what they do is they actually don't just have one connection where, you know, there's the part where the minifigure stands on, but then there's also one here on the back, which is where the back of their legs connect, so that essentially there's 2 parts of connection there, so that they're pretty much stuck into the build. So when they push out, it's a more stable and they don't really like break off or anything, which is honestly a really cool design and a very simple one. And it's the same exact feature on the top part with where I have Thor and Captain America in, where you put them on the little stand and then you attach this little piece on the back, so that they're kind of just stuck on. And then when you're done, there's not really like another lever, so you kind of just push them back in, which I think works perfectly fine. It doesn't really break off anything. And then you just slap these panels back on. But that is my review for the Marvel logo. I love the build and I love the figures, but I still think they could definitely be improved on for sure. And I think one really bad mistake that they do is to leave out Hawkeye. Like, come on, the poor guy. Like, you include all the Avengers except him. He's like the most underrepresented Avenger of all these, next to like the Hulk. But yeah, like, why is he just left out? I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense because, like, you know, there's no spot for him, but like, I don't care. It's the Avengers. They should have just included all 6. They probably could have made out like another feature just for him or whatever. I don't know. And like, would it be cool to have a Stan Lee figure too? Yeah, but you know, that would have been cool also. But even just getting at least the 6 Avengers would have been pretty great. But instead we just got the 5, which are still good, but like, you know, it's kind of sad that we just miss him out there. But yeah, that is pretty much it for my review. Don't forget to destroy the subscribe button and the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.